Hello, and I'm Lexi Pence, host of Let's Get Lexi on YouTube. And I'd like to welcome everyone tonight with Inforum at the Commonwealth Club. I am super excited because I'm sitting next to a badass chick.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Eliza, oh my gosh, you do so much. You have 3 Netflix specials, comedy specials.
Thank you.
You've created, hosted, and starred in 2 shows.
Yeah.
And you freaking wrote a book.
I did write a book. It was
Way
really
to make
hard.
the rest of us look bad.
No, I don't save lives or anything or do math. I just wrote that book. And by the way, just FYI, the 4th Netflix special is going to be shot right here in the Bay Area.
Yes!
It is. We're doing it in Alameda on the USS Hornet. And so I heard a gasp, so come on out.
That's a super cool venue. Did you pick that?
I did. Well, we wanted to do something big. Netflix, like their mandate is like, we want bigger production value. It's not enough that you've written jokes out of nothing. It's got to look great. And so I was like, I'm really active with like troops and USO stuff. I was like, what if we shot it in Afghanistan? Anyone? They were like, hard pass on that because of, casualties. And then we found this ship. So
Awesome.
that was the compromise.
Okay, so Girl Logic.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. What is Girl Logic? I know, these chairs are...
It's hard to...
Right?
It's hard to not look evil. Or like, was it RCA? What was the sound system? Dolby?
I
Who
knew
was
we
it?
should
There's
have
tech
worn
people here.
athleisure suits.
Right. So Girl Logic, what is it? Girl Logic is the thought process that this feels like a TED Talk. This is all I've ever wanted. The thought process. Just get a lot of shots of me doing this as if I'm demonstrating like molecules. Globalization. Girl Logic is the thought process that we as women naturally apply to everything. Everything from big decisions down to the minutia of like what kind of topping should I get. And it seems like it's like pretzel loopy, like it's endless and you could, analyze yourself into a wormhole, but so many like science people are like, actually not possible. Technically, it's a space-time continuum break, and we're not talking about that. And Girl Logic comes about because my whole thesis and my whole idea is that women are expected to be so many things to so many people. In one fell swoop, you are expected to be attractive but demure, but sexy but not too sexy, in charge but not a ball buster, a go-getter, but, and it depends on who's looking at you, and a modern woman would say, like, who cares what people think? But what we have to come to face with is that the perception people have of you when you're a woman can have detrimental effects on your safety, on your life, on your career, on your finances because of perception. So while you shouldn't change anything, I am painfully aware as a woman of the fact that if somebody just decides like, oh, she seems like a bitch, she seems slutty, she seems like I won't like her, seems very quickly turns into reality for some people, and then that gets projected on you, and then things can get taken away from you or something like that. So Girl Logic is our sort of journey trying to suss out all the stimuli coming in and figure out the best path for us. In a nutshell. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I wrote it because, thank you, I just got tired of always hearing that women are crazy. And like some women are fucking bananas, for sure. Like the chances that you're sitting next to like a crazy person right now are like 50%. But it was these broad strokes. It's always writing about she's crazy. Oh, she's a bitch. Oh, she's nuts. Oh, she's crazy. And it's just so easy to write off women and all of our spectrum of emotions because people don't like to deal with variety within a human. And I was like, there's got to be something. I sort of just dove into that. I'm like, we're not crazy. We're just using our girl logic.
Yeah. Are you exhausted from your Girl Logic?
I'm exhausted from that explanation.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel. So it does exhaust you, And
yeah, I'm exhausted.
for sure.
Even just getting here tonight, like I'm exhausted.
Yeah, because you had to like get ready.
Yeah.
Like, you had to put all that black together.
Yes.
Yeah, we all did.
And there are different shades of black.
Yes. Not just gray, it's black too. Like there's so many. I hate to use like a sartorial example because that makes it sound like women are all about clothes, but we are. And when you're it's a big thing. I hate fashion and I hate getting dressed. Like this was nothing short of like the largest accomplishment that I dressed myself for this. But when you're getting dressed, you know, it's not just, oh, grab something. Your boyfriend's always like, oh, just put something on. It isn't that simple. And I'm not saying this is rocket science, but is this too tight? Am I eating later? Will I be uncomfortable later? I wore these shoes last time. They hurt my feet. Then I had blisters. Then I couldn't go work out tomorrow. Do I feel thin? Am I having a thin day? That's a very real thing. Is this appropriate? Am I going to look too slutty, trashy, conservative for where I'm going? Is it too much? Is it too little? Because of other people's perceptions, if you're just at home, you just throw on the grossest pair of sweats. You're like, I don't give a fuck. But out, it's a thing. And that girl logic, I mean, we've all done that thing where you're getting ready and you just, something's not right. You're like, well, these pants are the wrong shade. So you try another one. And an hour later, you are sweating. You hate your boyfriend. You hate your body. You hate your job. Why won't my mom stop texting? I don't have the right kind of friends. And you're exhausted. And then you realize you just throw something on and it turns out nobody cared, nobody noticed, you felt fine, the night was fine. Like the world didn't implode.
Yes.
But we all go through it and it's not crazy. It's us taking in all of the things that we're told we're supposed to be.
Right. And then you're supposed to go into work and do this job.
And do this
in
job.
Pants that you hate.
And I cannot attest to that just because of the nature of my actual job.
Right.
But I do know that for a lot of women, finding the right outfit to be taken seriously as a human at work. You know?
You want to be professional, but yet fun.
Yeah, fun, for sure. Like if you are an attractive girl or you're a girl who's comfortable with your body, like we love to shame women for showing it off or not showing it off at the right time or something. And it's like, you got giant boobs. Like, what am I, like I talk about this in the book. Like when I was like 16, I had like 32 double D, which is very different as a 34-year-old. When you're like 16, it's like, oh my God. And it's too much tit. I guess. So you try to cover it. Any girl with like big boobs, if you try to button over like a large chest, like you will be recruited for a fucking football team because it just looks and you feel bad, even though the world is like tits are great. You're like, what do I do with this? And you carry that with you to this room right now.
So
It's true.
I can just listen to you talk all day. I'm like,
Me too.
Go on.
As long as I'm getting laughs every couple seconds, it's fine. It's when it's just silent that you're like, I lost them somewhere at the boob rant.
So girl logic, when do you think that comes into play? Like, when do you think girls start to develop that?
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I mean, girls have, I've talked about this with some people, this sort of, and this is something that people know, I'm not making this up, this inclination toward exclusion from a very young age. Just sort of like, you can't sit with us, you know? And it's about developing a hierarchy. And I want to say it was Joe Rogan I was talking about this with, because I don't want to make it sound like I came up with this part on my own. But the idea that, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, when we were tribes or packs of people, if you didn't like someone, if you turn your back on them, what you're basically saying is like, you can't have our food, you can't be part of our group, and the person's left out there to die. And that's what girls do. It's like, you're not with us. We hope that your line dies out and your babies shrivel. Because, so by not including, you're cutting off their sustenance. You're not showing them how to farm or eat or anything like that. So fast forward to now, exclusion is basically, we don't want you with us, like we wish you would just die and go away. And I think little girls can be very mean, you know, in trying to figure out a pecking order. And what was really interesting, I guess, for me as a kid was, like, you know if you're a dork. Like, you do. Like, high school movies have let us know, like, there's dorks and there's jocks and cool kids, whatever. San Francisco's like, we got the last laugh. So expensive here. And you know it. Like, when you're in elementary school, like, you know the pretty girls are the popular girls. And I never understood why I wasn't a popular kid. Like, I wasn't, but I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And, like, I thought I was cool even though no one else was validating it. So that's weird. Like, I always had this sense of, like, yeah, I belong. Even if I didn't earn it or even if I wasn't the prettiest, I'm like, I'm the hottest ever. While still knowing I wasn't that attractive. I think we get so upset with women. Like, your girlfriend could be like, oh my God, I think I look so fat. And as women, we're immediately taught to be like, no, you look beautiful. Like, let her say she looks fat. Like, if she really feels that way, and she does, it's okay. It's not, I would appreciate an honest opinion versus like, you look fierce. I'm like, but my zipper's not zipping. You look lit. Because we're so trained to like uplift women and like we're so sensitive, or be like, yeah, those pants are terrible. take them off.
Yeah.
Because it's all about trust. When I shot my last Netflix special, I had it in my head that I was going to wear these sort of reflective, like snakeskin print, like leggings, and they were very shiny, and I have like meaty thighs, but I was like, not today. Today's the day they go away on camera. And I was going to wear a tank top that was very low cut. It was going to be a cute bra. So I had the stylist get it, and at no point did he tell me, no, we don't wear reflective pants and cutout shirt. And I put it on, and we ran a test, and my manager, who's a woman who I trust, who I know has my best interest at heart versus like some shady bitch in the corner, took a video to show me, and she comes up to me after. This is the night before the rehearsal and the recording, and she goes, "You look so fat." And my feelings weren't hurt. I was like, really? She's like, "You're gonna cry if we do this." She's like, "Your thighs look gigantic." You're not, but this looks bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I trust you." So we ran to like H&M and bought something. But it's about someone that I trusted said it. I knew her intention was good.
Right.
I've strayed so far from your initial question.
No. I think you answered it. You said just when girls are younger and
I think it's when we're younger.
Growing up. And do you think it ever goes away?
No.
Damn it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not. But it can be a good thing, because you're sussing out, to not have experience from the past and to not have an objective in the future. You're just a floating thing, Right. So you're pulling from past experiences, the outcome you want, what you think you'll have. So it doesn't go away. It definitely evolves, and it definitely calms down. Like the way I would respond to a text from a boy now is a lot different than I would have responded when text messaging was first invented in my early 20s. Yeah, you the more you get a sense of yourself and the more confident you become,
right,
the less horse crap you put up with.
So you go more towards the genius versus the absurdity.
Absolutely.
See what I did there?
Good night.
Okay, so you talked a little bit before about, your giant chest. It's a great segue.
Watch out.
Let's talk about body image. You
Sure.
talk a lot about it in the book, and I think you had such a great message about it. And what changed? Like, what changed for you that now you're like, I'm so confident. These are my thighs.
Yeah.
Take me, world.
Well, they're not going away, and I noticed that, and I was just like, grr. It's a couple things. I don't know if it changed as much as, like I said, like always just had confidence. I think your parents play a role in that, and I think just being sort of a smart aleck. Like, as a comic, excluding the people in this room, like, I always think everyone around me is stupid. Not you guys, but like, you interact with people, like, as a kid, this is not good. Like, I would argue with a ref at like my baseball game if I thought something was wrong, and you definitely, not all your teachers are going to be brilliant, and you look for these sort of holes in people's logic, and what you find is that most people are not smart, and it's true, and you have to deal with it, and it's sort of like this thing, and like I'm just always looking for like, yeah, but that person's an idiot, because usually they are. You can write off most people. Unfortunately, you have to deal with them. So it really comes down to, am I going to let stupid people change the expectations of what I have for myself? The world is filled with dumb people, and social media is stupid, and magazines are dumb, and it's just this heightened reality that we're all supposed to live up to. And I get it. I'm very aware of what I look like. I'm not the hottest girl, but I am a white, blonde hair, blue-eyed girl, and that's supposed to be this like archetype, right?
With incredible abs.
With incredible, thank you.
I don't know if you guys have seen her ab pictures. I
really believe.
I creepily have. I mean,
I'll take it. I put it out there. I just believe that if the world is telling you to look a certain way, and it doesn't matter, forget your color or anything like that, and you do it, I'm so frustrated by that now you have to cover it up because you're upsetting people. And it's like, but I did all this work. So whether you have proportions that are different, it's just the idea that like the world, not everybody has to say you're beautiful for you to just be like, this is it, this is me. And what you'll find is that most people don't care. No one's gonna come up to your face and like ream you for not looking a certain way all day, every day. That being said, I'm sure it happens to people all the time. And I'm not trying to have like a white privilege moment up here, but I am saying there's nothing wrong with saying this is how I look and I'm proud of it, regardless of what it is. I think we get very angry when women in this society take control of their own sexuality or their bodies. And I think it's the thing that people can't quite latch onto. I think it's almost a generational thing. I had a discussion with my mother about it. She's like, but dressing a certain way, just what's the message? And I'm like, hopefully people can separate the message from the look. You can, snap it. And it is an adjustment, and I think as women, we do that to other women. She looks slutty, but it's like, what? Did I just get heckled at a Commonwealth book? No. But it's true. Like, I post pictures of me at the gym because I love going to the gym and I like seeing the progress and I like writing about it. But you see these girls and they, you can't help it. I'm not above it. You see these girls and you're like, ugh, like so skanky, right? Because she's like, these are my tits and this is my body. And it's a natural thing to be like, ew, but it all comes down to jealousy and competitiveness. And the thought when a girl is dressed, we'll say slutty, whatever that is for you, okay? You could be Amish and it's like, slutty. As women, we tend to go like, that's slutty, therefore she's gonna get male attention. And if she gets male attention, I won't get any. We create this frenzy around women that like, if she gets something, you don't get it. And it's not totally untrue. Mm-hmm. We like to uphold one woman at a time. There's one woman, there's a queen bee, there's an it girl, there's a cover girl, right? We don't necessarily do that with men as much, and men don't care. So there isn't always enough to go around, but we love to create that frenzy so that women are constantly in competition. That way we can't come together. So show off your body. I don't know. And people are going to say shitty things about it all the time. Doesn't matter what your body looks like, but I don't know, turn off your comment section. I don't know. I don't know.
So you're pretty confident.
Sometimes.
On days that you're not so confident, right? Like, I would love to have that much confidence to be like, you know what? I'm not going to care. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm just going to just be me.
Right.
And not even worry what the comment section say.
Yeah.
But I can't feel like that every day.
Right.
How would you tell me or anyone else out there that's listening, like, what do you do? How do you combat that?
I just think you pick and choose. Like, if I'm doing stand-up, did you say Jews? I said choose? I mean, yeah, like Jewish. Me too. By the way, it might be the only time I've ever heard a positive heckle about being Jewish. Jews, not Jew. I'm not like a guru or anything, and I didn't set out to be like, and here's how I tell young women to be confident. I can only speak from my own experience. There are plenty of times I'm insecure. I will be honest, I did a book event yesterday in LA, and when we did the ticket count, 2 hours out, there were 10 tickets. And I was sitting there and like, from a mental standpoint, like, I just was going over in my head, like, what a loser I am. And I don't know if anybody else does this, but like everything that I have on the horizon just like turned to ash from the smallest thing. And I don't know if that's a productive person thing or an artist thing, but I was just like, and I knew that my agents were coming and my manager was coming. And I felt like a girl that threw herself a birthday party. And no, but more people ended up coming. Going into it, I was just sitting there surrounded by all these people who love me. A bunch of my friends came and all I could think was like, you're such a fucking loser. And I felt like, because I got hair and makeup done for it. So I was like, in my mind, I'd come out in this like Lady Gaga meat dress. And there's like 3 people in Barnes & Noble who would like come in from the cold. So it's not about anybody that says they're confident 100% of the time is a drag queen, quite frankly, because I don't know how they do it. And from that confidence even came from being treated terrible their whole life. So it's your moments. I'm doing a red carpet. I'm always nervous that it's going to look bad. But the God's honest truth is so little of this. I'm not trying to sound like a nihilist, but like so little actually matters. You could have spent 2 hours putting this together and we could do a red carpet thing. And tomorrow, nobody cares. Right. Nobody cares what you wore to a thing. Like, all that matters is how you feel going into it, and your memories of that night. Nothing's that important to anyone. That being said, like, this took forever. So there's your girl logic. Like, it matters, but it doesn't. And you have to just decide when it's going to matter and when you're going to let it rule you, I guess,
Right.
But more people showed up to the event last night. I said that. I just want to make it clear. It wasn't as big as this, but people came. So I was nervous. I didn't know how many people were here for this, and they were tweeting about it. I just want to apologize again for this. Earlier this week, there's like a ticket company that was selling tickets, and I had never heard of this ticket company, and this is the Marine Theater. Is that right?
Yeah.
That word had never been told. It was always Commonwealth Book Club, so I thought it was some place called the Commonwealth Book Club. And so the ticket company tweeted out, and I showed it to my agent. He goes, I don't know what that is, probably a scalper. So I started tweeting out, do not buy tickets to this. This is a fake event. And some girl who worked for the company wrote back, she's like, it's real, fact check. And I'm like, hey, who the fuck is she? And like, because nobody told, I didn't know. And in my head, I'm like, all these people didn't show up because I, like, at the last minute, just, like, submarine the whole thing. Like, you came anyway. Balcony's a little sparse, but that's fine. I'll take that. That one's me.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your comedy.
Okay.
Let's go back to like your first experience going on stage. What
Okay.
was that like? Do you remember it?
Yeah. Well, there's like stage, like stand up proper.
Yeah.
So it was a bar. I think like most comics. This also sounds like how I lost my virginity. Like that's the beginning. Not me, but like it sounds like a virginity story. There's a bar called Room 5 in LA. I had like, you scrape together your 5 to 7 minutes. That's all they'll give you at the beginning. And I invited my friends out to hear me do a joke about herpes. So that's cool. And I think a joke about like pizza and like traffic. And they were fine. The pizza joke I think is still really good. The herpes joke, I like cringe when I hear it now. When I hear it, I'm not hearing it anywhere. When I look back on it, I license it out. So it was just that, and it was a lovely, people came, and then I started doing it more, and I think one by one, my friends were like, oh, this is like a thing now. We're not coming anymore. But that was it. And, you're nervous the first time, and many times subsequently. I became a paid regular at the Hollywood Improv soon after that, and I would go into the handicap stall, because I had the most room, and I would drink a vodka cranberry, and I would just like endlessly go over my set because like your time is so precious and getting stage time is so precious. And then I got the flu and I stopped drinking before I went on stage, and I haven't had a drink and performed in, I drink alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic, but I don't drink now before I go on stage. And it's been like 12 years, so try to treat it with respect, I guess.
Good.
Yeah.
So 5 to 7 minutes, that's a long time for your first time.
My Girl Logic explanation at the beginning of this was 15 minutes. No one, I was just a joke. Okay. That pause just there felt like an hour. It's standard. It's long if you're bombing, and it's not enough time. I mean, I do an hour now, and I see that the hour's up, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't even done my half-hour set piece about Las Vegas. Like, it just goes so fast.
Right.
That's the objective.
Is there a time because you talk a lot about failure in your book, is there a time that you've been on stage that you were like, oh man, that was horrible?
Yeah, there are sets where you're like, woof. Like that was not fun. You try not to blame the audience because, 60 people can't be wrong. Sometimes you do, I've definitely, you play a college or something and the kids are I'm a liberal and they're like so blindly liberal that you're just like, what are you owing at? You don't even know what taxes are. Like you're just, so I can't recall a time where I was ever bombing and I was just like, somebody like grabbed me with a hook. The Comedy Store where I've spent most of my stage time in LA has this room called the Original Room, which has been around forever, and it's small, and the layout, and it's haunted for sure, and the layout is very weird. People are like right here. It's not like this where we're raised above you, and it's wide, and it's dark, and when you're not doing well, it is like you can feel it. It creeps into you, and you're just sitting there, and it's palatable, and you're inundated by failure, and it hurts so bad because their faces are right here and you have nowhere to go and nowhere to blame it, and then you get the light and you go off. But what you get from that failure, it's almost addictive. You're like, I need another shot at it. And I kind of liken it to, this is horrible, like an abusive boyfriend. You're like, that hurts so much, but I love him so much. I'm just going to keep going back, hoping that he'll love me. And unlike with spousal abuse, the room actually does start to love you eventually. So girls, stick with it. No, so if you sort of lean into that failure and, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? Should I go slower? Like it's an art, and you have to analyze it and you have to evaluate it. So it's not so much one time as much as just a steady shitty feeling sprinkled throughout several weekends over several years that have led me to this moment.
So did your family support you going into comedy?
Yes, it's such an annoying answer. I get it. Blindly, I suggest having parents who had aspirations to do something in show business and didn't in order to get blind support from them. My dad, if you ask him, I'm a musician, but he works for Principal Financial. Like, he's whatever. They're both very funny. They're New Yorkers, and they're Jewish New Yorkers, so they're automatically very funny. Yeah.
Jews.
Yeah, we did it. We made it. Very supportive. Come to all the tapings. You know, my dad, if you are lucky enough to be my feature, my dad will watch your set and then give you notes. In a sweet, he'll be like, come here, I'm gonna talk to you for a second. Don't say 10, say 12. It's funnier. And he's not wrong. Very supportive. My mom didn't like the book when she read The Galley. And I think as a mother, she was very protective. You know, she's like, you talk about having an abortion. Like, is that appropriate?
Right.
You know, things like that. I don't do anything for shock value. That's just not me. But I felt if I didn't use the few personal examples I had about any sort of trial in my life, then, like, what kind of an artist are you, and what kind of if you're going to call yourself a role model, if you don't, women want to stand up for these things, you know, like Planned Parenthood and choosing your choices over your body, and I actually had something like that. I went through it, and I was like, if I don't use myself as an example, then where's the value in that? If I'm just another person blindly supporting it that has more to the story.
Right.
So it was one of the few things that I could contribute, where I could be like, I went through some shit, and life goes on.
Right.
I wasn't ashamed of it. Oh, thanks. It's whatever. I just think there's so much shame put on us about being women. You're shamed for the majority of your bodily functions. You can't fart. I mean, we can, like, so much. You can't talk about pooping. Your vagina is scrutinized, the way that it looks. You know, there's endless memes out there. I saw one that's like, if the pussy be looking like a roast beef sandwich. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
I know that meme.
It's just, you are lucky to be near a vagina. Do you hear me? And like, you're taught from a young age, like, what you have is wrong. Your boobs are wrong. Your waist is wrong. Your arms are, everything's wrong. If it's not perfect, and if it's perfect, shut it down, and cover it up. But the childbirth, if you don't lose the weight after that, or you have postpartum, or you have stretch marks, everything, we're so shamed, and there's so much shame equated with just existing as a woman. And I'm saying that as a privileged white woman, so I cannot begin to understand what it's like not to be me, or to be African American in this society, or a brown person, or a transgender woman, you know? I'm coming from, like, the most privilege, and even I'm being like, this is hard as fuck. So I can't imagine how difficult it is for other people. And so I just wanted to use myself as an example, not to be brave or anything, but just to sort of purge myself of that and be like, here it is. It's not the biggest deal ever.
And you got really vulnerable in the book. Yeah. How was that writing it?
It was fine. I have this quote, like, I wasn't sitting by candlelight, like, and then I talked to my father, like,
with a quill.
It was right. Like, it was a chance, because on stage you have to have jokes every second, and people are there to laugh. It was a chance to sort of bear, so I think as comics, we're all a little bit dark. So it was a chance to sort of lean into that and have some punchlines. Yeah, but, you know, I think women very much want to hear from other women stories of similar struggles, or things to, like, let other women know it's not that bad, it's not that scary, or I went through that. There's a kindness in doing that, in opening your heart. Women, we want to feel safe, and I think we're taught as women to make it look easy. You know, women are always like, she has it all, how does she do it? She's not doing it. It's hard for her, but we never let other women in on that. Like, you know, I liken it to, like, if we're all dogs, sorry, I'm calling us dogs, you know, how do you get a dog to come to you? You, like, put out your hand, and the dog's like, I don't want to. You're like, no, come on. And that's what it's like being friends, making new friends as women. Like, you put out something vulnerable, you're like, guess what? I have back fat too. I have back fat too. It's under my bra, it doesn't fit. And then the other girl's like, no, it's just me. There's no one has back fat. I have the most back fat. You're like, no, come here. I have back fat and I have gas. No, you don't have gas. But you're so pretty. I know, but sometimes I feel really ugly. I feel really bad about myself. No, I'm the only one that feels bad. Come here. Come take my hand. You'll float too. That's what we have to do. It never fits. Okay. It's important. It's important that we understand that we all share a heart and experiences and to be kinder to each other.
When did you realize that this was like a message that you needed to get out there and do it in a very serious way? Because you do it in your stand-ups.
Yeah.
But you took it a step further and you're like, I'm going to get serious and I'm going to write a book.
I guess, I mean, it was so long ago, like from pitching this book to the actual day it came out was a couple years, because it was like Girl Logic was like somewhere in my mind, and then I pitched the idea of it. So, you know, I never set out to do anything to be like, I want to be an icon, which I'm not, like, or I want to be a role model. I just did the jokes and things that were in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened to be that we were sort of at the precipice or pre all the women's rights things that are happening now. And this so nicely transitioned into what we're going through in our society. Yeah. But there's so many women out there who have these thoughts or go through so much more shit that don't get any credit for it. So I think it's all just about kind of letting other women in. And so it was never so much a thought as just, I think as you get older, you realize, oh no, it's not okay that somebody shamed me. Oh no, it's not okay that he called me sweetie. Oh no, it's not okay that he raped me, that he did this, right? These are things that we're starting to realize that we've always been shamed for, and our voices have always been so silenced because we're women, right? And so I'm noticing it's not just me, so many women, the Harvey Weinstein thing, all the things that are coming out now, not just Me Too, but like, and I have something else to add. And we're getting the balls to say those things, and I think it's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you guys too, not just me.
So speaking of Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah.
I'm sure we should touch on it a little bit. Or are you tired of talking about him?
I don't know the guy.
And you came out and you said that, and you gave like you wrote something down, took a
Yes.
photo, and put it on Twitter and all that stuff. Do you want to talk on that a little bit, or?
I mean, the book, I wrote a statement because I could foresee some shitty blogger being like, she's not a real feminist. Her book's with Weinstein. And I'd be like, you dumb fucking bitch. You don't know how books work. My book, this is how self-centered I am as an artist. My book came out and the Weinstein thing broke like a week before.
No.
And all I kept, my book was set to come out a week later. The Weinstein thing broke, and all I kept thinking was like, why do all the bad things happen to me? Like, as it's happening. And then to make it worse, Mayim Bialik, who's a very good friend of mine, got crucified for her New York Times piece. And she wrote the foreword for my book. And again, I was like, why me? But I defend her. And I think that we love to, as women, attack any woman that isn't the kind of feminist we want her to be. So did she write the best article in the world? No, but she is one of us. Like, she is a feminist and she walks the walk, and I was embarrassed at how quick we were to throw stones just because it hurt our fifis. We got to toughen up a little bit. But if you look at your book, I don't know if we have any books here, on the spine it says Weinstein. This is the last book from their company, which is now dissolved into the Hachette Book Group, to have that W. So I kind of liken it to like if you have a grandparent who fought in World War II and brought back like some Nazi flatware. Like, it's not made anymore. Like, that's the last edition of that. And Weinstein Books is 2 women. It's not this huge conglomerate. It's 2 women who helped me do this book. And it's such a pro-woman book. And I was like, I'm not going to let the actions of a disgusting, mentally disturbed man silence the efforts that me and 2 other women put into this book. That would be the opposite of productive. So, I don't know. Also, I couldn't. Like, even if I wanted to, like, it was printed. It's, like, really expensive for them to make a book. You can't. There was one woman who, like, pulled her deal because she had a deal. She hadn't written the book. That's way different. Like, these books were in a warehouse. Like, I would have been sued so bad if I was like, I'm not promoting it. So that's not an option once the book is made.
Well, it couldn't have come out at a better time, so.
Right? It kind of worked out.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's time travel a little bit, Eliza.
Okay.
Back to, you grew up in Texas.
I did.
Dallas, Texas.
No cheers for Texas. All right. I won.
Which, I don't know if you guys know anything about Dallas, Texas, but it's a little bit more conservative.
Than here?
What was it like growing up in that kind of environment and being the female that you are? Because it seems like you were pretty confident and kind of like knew who you were from a young age.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in that kind of environment?
I think a lot of times people kind of know who they are. It's just the environment won't allow it. And I think I just sort of combated that. I'm Jewish, and they're New York Jews, so it's not like we grew up on a ranch surrounded by like all people wearing red. But it's definitely being Jewish in Texas. There's plenty of Jews, by the way. Like there's a lot of Jews in Dallas, but you still aren't thrilled when you have to tell people it's Rosh Hashanah, and you're like, that's my holiday. It sounds weird. And all your Christian friends are going to like Fellowship of Christian Athletes meetings, and you're like, my people don't play sports. But you want to be included. Christianity does a great job of like, for people think that Jews run the media, we have garbage PR for our religion. Christians have the lights and the Santa Claus and the like, come on in, it's Bible study. And you're like, I can't wait. Like they make it super cozy. So it was fine. I had it's a nice place to grow up. I moved schools a lot. So I think that's what made it, difficult too. You're always trying to find your footing in terms of who am I friends with. But yeah, I guess it's hard to answer that because I didn't grow up anywhere else. Like I didn't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
But I don't know. There's a lot of good things about it. But I don't know. I definitely.
You could have been a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
I could not have. I'll tell you what. Like I have blonde hair, but that is about it. I was the mascot for my high school football team. So I could have done that.
What was the mascot?
A hornet. The head. But I had friends who were junior Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. That is the thing. Make sure to get your child into a halter top and Daisy Dukes immediately. But it's I don't know. I think that if you're from the South or from your Texas, you grow up with like these certain things. You're like, oh, football, it's an American thing, and then you grow up and you're like, oh, it causes severe brain damage. This is a barbaric sport. I always say you're not responsible for the way you were brought up and you shouldn't apologize for it, but you are responsible if you choose to be ignorant and not broaden your horizons later. I went to a lovely private school. My friends are very smart. That being said, I do have one that believes being gay is a choice, which is so insane to say in San Francisco. Like, I can't believe I just admitted that. So I think moving to a city like Los Angeles, and you get to see firsthand economic constraints on people and how we block people from opportunity, things like that. You don't see that if you live in a lovely suburb, which is fine if you do, but I'm grateful for any chance to see how wrong I was in my thinking about something. I don't know. You guys are weird. Yeah.
So did you practice stand-up in Dallas at all?
No. I graduated high school and I went to University of Kansas my freshman year simply because I got in. But that goes back to the feeling like you belong. Like all my friends went to Ivies and Ivy lookalikes, and I was like, me too. # me too. And I applied. I talk about it in the book. I got in nowhere, and it was such like a fall from grace. I got no art schools, no film schools. No one saw me. Like no one cares if you're funny. Like, can you put in an essay? Can you make something? No. Okay, back of the line. And so University of Kansas. Then I went to Emerson. I did film there, and I didn't start doing stand-up until last semester of my senior year. I did a semester at sea, and on the boat going around the country, we did an open mic, and I just started making fun of people. There were these 3 guys who went to the University of Arizona that I was friends with, and they were gorgeous. And I knew this, and it's like, oh, you're so. I knew I wasn't attractive enough. Given the amount of women that were there throwing themselves at them, and given how hot they were and how willing they were, and I'm just like, let's watch Will Ferrell on SNL on DVD. So my way to get close to them, just as a friend, I was like, if I can't, fuck them, I can at least be welcome around them, was to make them laugh and stuff like that. And so a big part of my stand-up is this girl voice that I do. She kind of talks like this. And I've been doing it since 2006. That voice came from the girls on the ship, who I had no problem with, but I would sit in the boys' room and we would watch TV or whatever, and I would watch one by one girls come in and roll down shorts, with their UCSB sweatpants on, hey. And they'd come in, and there was always an excuse. It would always be did I leave something in here? hey guys, did I leave a book in here? And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, you know you didn't leave a book in here. You know what I mean? And it was so, I was doing it more from, and it was funny, so I would get on stage and I would kind of make fun of that voice, and what was so great is that any girl that did it wasn't like, oh, that's me. They were like, it's those girls. I'm like, it's all of you. And so that voice became like my every girl voice, which on a lot of times is my voice. Like it's me. Like any sort of inner thought as a girl, like that's the voice I give to it. So that was where it like actually started. And then I took that voice and just kind of went with it. But it came from wanting to fuck these 3 hot dudes. We're friends now.
So I think we're going to audience questions. A staff member is going to go around. So if you guys have some, just go ahead and raise your hand. And I can't see anyone, so there's a lady out there with a microphone.
Oh, you do it.
No, I think she's.
You do it.
Eliza. No.
I'm sorry.
We have a question over here, actually.
Okay.
Hi, Eliza. I was wondering, what do you do when you're having a really bad day to like get back this confidence self that you already are?
And P.S., like I fully am aware that people have like actual bad days, and you know your bad days are your bad days. I have a lot of them. I'm very fragile, so it could be the right shitty comment from the right person combined with the wrong feeling, and it's just like I gotta take myself out of the equation. Like especially as an entertainer, like you always feel rejected, and you're always being told you're not good enough, and it's either not to your face or it's like, yeah, you're just not famous enough. You can't come on this show. And just being told things like that all day, every day. So it just depends on the day. I am not embarrassed to admit this. I enjoy EDM music, and I don't care what anybody says about that. And I put that on. First of all, I go work out because you'll never feel bad after that. Physically, you might want to throw up, but it gets your endorphins going. I squeeze my dog Blanche as hard as I can in like a sweet way. I squeeze her. And I go like organize something. I just like have some quiet me time. Maybe I'll put the phone away and just, this sounds like such a girl thing, organize a makeup drawer. Like redo your, like just kind of like get back to center, or just watch like 3 hours of Frasier. It's about something that's just so comfortable, you know, or watching like the Great British Bake Show, or going for a walk, or even just reaching out to a friend. I know this sounds weird, but just kind of going inward. And also doing the thing where reaching out to like a lifeline to remind you that you're not the biggest piece of shit ever, and like letting them infuse you with their energy. Or you can just lay in bed and stare at Twitter, but I promise you will be worse for it. But that's what I do. I go inward, I talk to my dog, I put on something comfy, and I watch Frasier. I watch a lot of Frasier. I don't have the power to look, so if I look at you, I'm not ignoring you, okay? I was talking to this lady because she raised her hand.
Yeah, okay, so there's a whole bunch of shit going on in the world, sexual harassment, all this stuff that's coming out in the news. I'm curious about if you see that in comedy, if you've had personal experiences with that in comedy, if you see it, how do you handle it? Like, it seems like it's everywhere, politics, the media.
Yeah, I think when the Weinstein thing happened and like the Louis C.K. thing, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's Hollywood, but it's every industry. We just happen to shine a light on that one. You know, if you work for a coal mining association, they're raping women too. It doesn't really matter what your business is. It's a universal thing that people treat women like shit. I definitely, because this is such a weird thing to say, but because I won Last Comic Standing so early in my career, I sort of got to skip like a huge layer of bullshit. I never had to worry about a male comic bringing me on the road or sleeping with them or that, because I became a headliner, which is a weird thing to say to people who aren't comics, but becoming that, and not doing great, but like the show, you win the show and they're like, all right, good luck, sink or swim. And you're on the road alone. And I wasn't on the road under anyone. I was the comic. So I didn't go through what a lot of women have to go through, which is why I fight so hard, I guess, on their behalf, because I missed that experience. I definitely have had women DM me or email me, girls I don't know, like, I'm a comic and this is what happened to me. Here's what someone said to me. Here, you know, male comics are should have been eradicated from the planet in the 50s. They can't adapt. I talk about this on stage. Take all the insecurity of like the grossest kid you knew in high school and put him into the physique of like a questionable physique of like a 34-year-old male who smokes too much pot. Like these are my colleagues, and there's a lot of insecurity there. There are great comics, but we're not here to talk about them. A lot of insecurity, a lot of ego, and we're all going for that brass ring of being like the best. And so a deterrent, like a lot of times guys will say shitty things to women hoping they'll quit. You're not funny, you're ugly, you're too positive, you're too this, because they're jealous. So if you are a comic in this room and you want any advice, if somebody takes the time to be a piece of shit to you, it's because they're jealous. You wouldn't bother. When someone's shitty, I like quietly, and it hurts. Like, it doesn't feel any better at the time, but like when someone sucks, I smile. I'm like, great, you know, like, nice job. I'm not gonna be a piece of shit. And I walk up and I'm like, oh my God, that person's so terrible. I would never go up to them, but that's a tool men use to make you feel bad, hoping you'll stop. And that's when you have to go harder. Cause like, fuck that.
That was
Right?
really well said, Eliza. Like, really well said.
Yeah.
We have a question
Yeah.
on your right. Question over here on your right.
I would really love to ask you something influential and deep, but I don't have that question right now.
Good, because
So-
I'm tired.
Oh, sweet.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No. So actually, my question is, can you please tell us the pizza joke and the herpes joke?
Okay. Okay, so the herpes joke is so embarrassing because it's such a rookie joke, and I always prided myself on like being original, but like, here it is, folks. Whatever. I was like 25 when I wrote this, and I'm not gonna stand up for it. That's how little I respect this joke. I was watching TV. You guys watch TV, right? I was watching TV, and I saw this like Valtrex commercial. Oh God, my heart hurts saying this. It's so mean. I saw this Valtrex commercial, and the whole emphasis of the commercial, there's people kayaking and riding bikes and hiking, and it's all about getting you back to your active lifestyle. And it's like, hey, slutty, did you ever stop and think it was your active lifestyle got you in this place in the first place? Like, it's horrible. 84% of people have herpes. Like, it's horrible. The pizza joke, however, and by the way, herpes joke got a laugh every time, and that's also horrible. The pizza joke is this. It's talked, like the whole setup is how Americans will eat anything, and we're so disgusting. Does great overseas, but we'll eat anything. Saw a commercial for Pizza Hut the other day. Now buy any 2 medium 1-topping pizzas, get a free order of cheesy bread and marinara dipping sauce. And I'm like, cheesy bread, marinara sauce, that's pizza. Amazing that America's favorite side dish to pizza is pizza reconfigured. Oh. Thank you.
We've got a question from social media and kind of pertinent. I know you said you went right to headlining, but if you could pick anyone, any comedian, dead or alive, to open for, who would it be?
To open for? I don't want to open for anyone. Whoa. That's the answer. I set it up so they get all the glory. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't,
We've got another question down front to your left.
Sorry, I thought you were over there. Okay, sorry. Hi.
Hello. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I'm also an aspiring comic. I know you're a real one, but I'm not.
Oh, let's not
but-
say that. You're real.
Amateur.
You're a real girl.
Haven't been paid.
Yeah.
I'm a real girl. So I was wondering, how do you take like an idea for a joke and actualize it into a full-on bit? Like, do you sit and write, or do you talk with people, or what's your kind of process?
Just steal. Like if I was somebody, no. And this is the honest truth. Every comic has their process. So mine is I don't write. Like I don't sit there. I go up. I get on stage, and that goes back to the idea of like you have to do the work. I'm not saying you don't do it. I'm just saying like people always want the sort of shortcut. Again, you're not asking this to stand up. Like what's the magic thing? It's like being a bodybuilder. Like you have to go to the gym, or an athlete. Like you have to do that. You have to get on stage. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll write some more, and then you got to get on stage and put that joke on its feet. I write my jokes by talking. So like the other day, I had this Great British Bake Show joke, and from watching it, and I got on stage and I just talked it out. And that's nerve-wracking if you're not used to doing it or you don't do it a lot, because that's taking a risk, but that's a huge part of the job, is letting things fall on their face. And even if they don't laugh, being like, but I bet this is good. I'm going to do it for the 10 o'clock crowd. And you'll have bits that crush, and then it never crushes again. And you're like, what happened? So it's all about figuring out, was it a nuanced thing? Is it a solid joke? You will find so much freedom as an artist in getting up and just sitting in the lack of laughter, because you become comfortable with it. And then when you're not afraid of the audience, they can sense that, and then you're free. They can tell when you're afraid, and no one's laughing when you're afraid. Unless it's like hysterical that you're so scared. Getting up as much as you, that's how I do it. I just get up almost every night. I do a couple shows a night, and you just beat it out until it's where you want it. And even then it still evolves, so, but that's the answer. You just got to get up at any cost.
Question over here on your right.
Netflix has introduced
I feel like
me.
I'm being puppeted, right?
Netflix has introduced me and probably a lot of people in this room to comedy. Ali Wong and you are my favorite comics, and I'm wondering, is there anybody that you would recommend looking into that you see who's new or up and coming?
It's not on Netflix, and I actually don't know her at all or anything about her other than I saw her do 5 minutes at Montreal last summer. But that girl, Michelle Wolf, people seem to like. So I don't. Thank you, Mom. She seems really. I watched her set, and I was like, that's good. So I guess you should try that girl out. There's a lot of those comics that do. They give those 15-minute specials too, or the half hours. I mean, I don't know if you know who Sebastian Maniscalco is, but I think he's the best comic in the country. I think he's one of the few comics I like come back in the room to watch, and I just think he's brilliant. And your parents probably know who he is. He's like, I don't know, parents love him. You should check out Sebastian. I love him so much, and he's very aware of how much I love his work, and I think it makes him uncomfortable. But he's pretty great. He just goes by Sebastian Maniscalco, but if you type in Sebastian comedy, he's like Italian from Chicago. He's great.
You've got another question over
I
here
could
on
talk
your
about
left.
him all night.
Yeah. Hi, Eliza. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your confidence. It's really inspiring. But does that ever get in the way of getting into productive dialogue with people, like, say, people have very different ideas of what feminism is, like, say, Saren Foster or Destiny Herndon de la Rosa, like people who are like anti-abortion feminists? Does it ever get in the way of discussing really hard things?
Oh, okay. I don't know who those women are. Probably because they're stupid. I don't know those names. The label feminist is applied, but like I never, when I did any of this, was like, I'm gonna be a feminist. I just woke up one day and I was like, oh, it turns out that's what it is. Like, you can be a feminist or a forward thinker without, the label. I don't know how you think women can be autonomous and yet take away their choices over their own bodies. I don't get into a lot of discussions like that. I live in LA, and it's very blue and it's very liberal. So, and it's not that I don't welcome those discussions. No one's ever come up to me and challenged it. I don't think confidence, to be honest, I don't think confidence is the thing, because there's arrogance and there's confidence. I'm very much willing to listen. If somebody says something in a calm and rational way and they're like, here's my thought, maybe you learn something. And that confidence is knowing that I can listen and I'll have an intelligent response. Arrogance is, fuck you, you don't know me, goodbye. So yeah, but I don't think so. I will say this. I think sometimes women get threatened when other women are confident, but you can't, if you are that woman that's confident, it's not on you. Unfortunately, it does get put on you. And I think a lot of times men are put off by it, and I've definitely had my fair share of men who, like, straight out of the gate were horrible to me simply because I showed up. And you're sitting there thinking, like, what did I do? Like, I just came to be on your podcast. I don't know why you're so mean. So I think sort of preemptive abuse because people are insecure, but I can't temper my own confidence to cater to people's ignorance. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And nor should anyone. You are what you are. We should listen to each other, but not at the expense of someone clubbing you over the head with their agenda. So I guess that's it.
We have time for 2 more questions, and Eliza, we're back here.
I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I just know what I know.
But actually, that was the perfect segue. Other
Oh.
people's insecurities and trying to preempt that. I'm back here.
Back here.
I'm black, so it might be harder to see me. Hi.
I see you.
Okay, maybe if I smile.
What'd you say?
So,
Said she'd smile.
What'd you say?
speaking of all of the exact same things that you just said leading into what happens to be my question, I do find that all of that self-possession and awareness and wit can be extremely threatening, not just to other women, but to men. And so as another artist who also happens to be a woman and a person of color.
And black.
And yeah.
Black,
Yeah,
right.
black. So hard to see the dark, that whole thing. I think also having been extremely well educated has done nothing but work against me when it comes to this industry of being an artist, being a creative person. So my question is, have you ever felt the need to play the dim bulb to get further along in your career? And if you ever have, is it the kind of thing that you made your peace with somewhere down the line, or does it karmically haunt you forever?
No hauntings. No. And I don't begrudge any woman that's done that. I totally get it. You know, you use what you have, and if you can do that, if I did that, it would be short-lived, because when you get on stage, people are used to a certain brand, and you know, your jokes are so germane to who you are. At least I believe that's how my art should be. So I've never believed in tempering it. And the women that do that, you know, maybe that is the act and that's different. I think I'm just such a fucking know-it-all, like that I can't help but like educate someone on something. And like sometimes I'll be like, what are you, the fucking Lorax? Like, shut up. Like, nobody wants to hear about World War I right now. But like it's always been a part of me, like as someone that thinks that they're smarter than the person next to them. So no, I never did that, and I get why women do it. You know, and it's so shitty because you're so faulted no matter what you are. If you're educated and you're smart, then you're a know-it-all. And if you're stupid, then you're a bimbo, you know. So I would just encourage any woman, just whatever you are, go forward with that. And you know what? You're black and you're educated and you're an artist, and that's hard. And so I would never pretend to know how difficult it is. I'm sitting there and be like, just do it, be confident. And like, I don't know. That's such a white thing. Like, just have fun with it. But I will tell you this, if you are the kind of girl that like plays the dumb card, but you aren't, other women will hate you. And I don't blame them.
You've got your last audience question over here on your left.
Do you have any methods or strategy for reading a room, or like some sort of litmus test
If
to
I
tell?
do, I've lost it tonight. Methods or strategies for reading a room. You know, I always judge a good crowd not by the effusiveness, not by the laughter, but by how well they listen. If in between my jokes, like you can hear a pin drop, that means they're like rapt, like they just are on the edge of their seats. If there's rumbling and there's talking, it means you didn't get the room. So it's always a judgment of like what kind of silence comes between the laughs. Reading a room like when you start, for anybody here that's into comedy, when you start, you're seeing who's laughing at what. Am I saying fuck and they're laughing a little bit more at that? Do they like the whimsical stuff? Like you throw out a couple of jokes to see what bites. But then the more you do this, like 10 years in and more, it becomes, I hate to say spiritual, but there is like a spiritual mathematics about it. You start to feel an energy. And you start to, this sounds just so hokey, but it's true. You start to feel like you ride this wave, and if you tap into it, like you and the audience are one, and you know if I raise my voice here, that's going to get a better laugh than if I just stop. And it becomes very musical, and that you kind of just tap into that eventually. But the short answer is the words that you use and seeing who laughs at the dirty jokes, who laughs at the smarter jokes, and then deciding, do I want to make it hard for myself and not give them what they're laughing at? And see if I can get them to laugh at the smarter stuff, or do I just say balls as much as possible, get my money, and get the fuck out of here? It happens so much. Yeah. So remember that, little one. I stare. I don't look at anyone. If I'm not enjoying the crowd. I did a show the other week, and I did not like them, and I just stared at that horizon back there, and I went through all the jokes that I do, like it was a dance. Good night. Thank you, Columbus. And I was out of there. So sometimes you just got to zone out. Not tonight. Like, this was great. But sometimes you got to do it.
All right, for your last question, it's an Inforum tradition that I ask you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. What is your 60-second idea to make the world a better place? And mind you, I don't know if anyone's actually timing it, so.
I'm just weighing. No. I've said this idea before, but I think our people are really
I liked
off
it.
by
I think you should say it.
No, you're throwing me under the bus. You didn't really like it. People are going to think I'm a bad person.
I think it's super topical for here.
Okay, here's what I think. And when I say think, it's just a thought I had. It's not something I'm implementing with like government funds. I just believe if you're going to be part of a society, you have to earn your keep, okay? So, right, for sure. Right generation to clap at that, for sure. But, it's like a hardworking generation. This dude like killed people in a war, for sure. But, notice how he's like very funny. Don't talk about it. I don't know. I was just like, you guys have a homeless problem here in San Francisco, and we have one in LA. So, okay. And there's a lot of holes in this idea. I've lost the room. Notice how I just stare at the horizon. So, you take all your homeless people, okay? You put some government funding to this. I don't know where you get the government funding. Maybe you have a bake sale. I don't know. And you move them to an area like somewhere. So in LA, it'd be like Barstow. Like it'd be out. It would be out, cleaning up, just like a desert area. I don't know what's out here. Some in the mountains. Move them out there. There are camps. Let me finish. They're not like barracks, like Bauhaus style utilitarian camping. So God, this is gonna go and people are gonna quote it. Set up, and you are assessed by a doctor, and it's on a volunteer basis, and they assess what's wrong with you, and if it's a mental thing that you're having, they give you medicine for that, and they help you toward it, versus, because I think a lot of people that are homeless, it's a mental issue. It's not like they're choosing to be homeless, and if you are choosing to be homeless, you have to have a job. And we give you the medicine and the treatment that you need, and in exchange, you do a menial task. You clean some things, you manufacture things, you do things, and you work toward your mental health. It's just an idea, and you work, and it's teaching skills, and it's doing things to equip people versus just like leaving them out there. So you get the dignity of food and shelter, and maybe learning a skill, and a doctor helping you to get back on your feet. And then when you're somewhere where you're stable, we release you back to the city. That's a problem. I guess you could be homeless very quickly again. But it's more the idea of giving people a pathway to a purpose versus just letting them rot and being like, ew, that's their fault. So, thanks. Thank you.
You got your seal of approval right there.
Yeah. Right? Please do not paraphrase that idea, especially the part where I said camps would be set up. You get what I mean. I can't wait for the tweets on that one. Feminist Eliza says homeless people. Okay.
Well, that concludes everything. Thank you guys all for being
so
here.
much.
Thank you for showing up tonight. And big thank you to you, Eliza,
Thank you.
for coming to San
Lexi.
Francisco.
She did it. There you go.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.